Yo, crypto nation and mining family. Crypto nation and mining family. What's going on? Of course, like always, it's not financial advice. Yo, crypto nation and mining family, what's going on out there, guys? So, on this one, I have to thank everybody, definitely, that showed up to the yen.io meetup. I'm very thankful for everybody that came out there, including Etang, which is one of the Vertcoin developers. Yo, gave me some of that Vert sauce. Very cool, very cool. So if you guys had missed out on there, you missed out. It was a wonderful time. You know what you might not be able to miss out on? Let me pull it up real quick here, guys. This one you don't have to miss out on, not at all. So you don't have to miss out on this. Boom. HotRodMining.com, guys. Check it out, guys. You can sit there and get awesome hats like this, some shirts like this. Yo, what's your plan B? Damn. So, it's, I have it on this one? Oh, no, it's on the back. That's right. Hodl wear. So, gotta hodl that stuff. You know what else you might want to be hodling on? I'm going to be doing a giveaway, basically. Guys, let's see here. So, the vault. Boom. So, not that I'm sitting here and telling you that you should be putting your entire wealth on here. I'm not saying that at all. You can sit there and, like I keep saying, you can use this like as if it was your wallet. So it's a great little nifty little gadget that you can store some crypto up on, walk around, do whatever. If you want to put your whole wealth on there, go for it. I just recommend also using core wallets from the developers. But if this is the safest thing that you can use, that you feel comfortable with, I get it. To each their own. But I do recommend core QT wallets. But if you would like to win the vault, never been used. It's even got the little plastic stuff on there. I'm not trying to steal anything from anybody. It's still got the little hologram sticker on there, so you can tell that I have not messed with this. I've just got it. I had actually gotten this from the Doge Lord himself. It was given to my wife, and my wife was very kind enough to donate it to my channel for a giveaway. And like I said, whenever I hit 300 subscribers, that I was going to be doing another giveaway. So here we go. We have another one on the dockets. I just got to figure out when I'm going to do it, and might do it probably this week sometime. Definitely do the giveaway on that. Will be a lot of fun. But without any further ado, guys, if you guys have not been checking it out, you know that I have a 1660 Ti, and that I have been mining away on like it's nobody's business. So this little bad boy here is a baller card. So this is the ASUS ROG Strix Edition. It has 6 gigabytes of GDDR6, so this is faster than the memory than the 1070 and the 1070 Ti and the 1080 and the 1080 Ti. Memory performance wise, this is pretty decent. So the six gigabytes of GDDR6, being a lot faster, it can make up some of the deficit of not having a full 8 gigs because of its speed. So speed-wise, it might be like running, 8 gigs of GDDR5. Just saying. But today's video that I'm going to be doing is going to be more or less, I want to do a teardown on the 1660 Ti. I have not cracked this bad boy open. I've been mining on this for a few months. This thing is hot off the press. And with that, guys, let's kind of dig into a little bit of this. But I'm going to be actually digging it in with a new toolkit of mine. So, bam. If you guys don't know who Gamers Nexus is, you should definitely check him out on YouTube. Also, great wealth of knowledge. He works with a lot of the AMD and NVIDIA cards. Been in the space as a gamer for a long time, so he checks out cards' performance on games, stability, overclocks. And now he's also been getting into extreme overclocking, and you might be like, well, what's that all about? So basically, they do liquid nitrogen and LM2, and they'll put a special container and they'll mount it onto a GPU or a CPU for your computer, and they can sit there and maintain temperatures at like negative 100 degrees. So when you start dropping your temperatures down like that, you can start just slamming them with power. So it allows you to bring your overclocks a lot further than you could ever naturally. Is that something that I would like to check out for mining? Only for testing. Nothing else. It is not worth mining with an LM2 pot at all. It's basically like sitting there and saying, well, I want to drive my dragster everywhere. I can, as long as I don't mind that I'm going from gas station to gas station to get everywhere. With I've never actually tried to calculate fuel economy on that thing. I just know that I get a lot of smiles per feet. I mean, as a car guy, I hit the throttle on that thing and I got a grin ear to ear. It has like a 10-gallon fuel tank in there. By the time it gets to the end of the drag strip, it's on fumes. I'm not sitting there making lots of laps on that gas tank, I'm just saying. And that's pretty much the same thing with like LM2. So as long as the LM2 is in there, it stays cool, right? Now, as long as it stays in there. Key factor there. It depletes quite quickly. So it's kind of like drag racing. You can only go at it for so long before you're breaking stuff, or it's just limiting itself. But moving on from that, so I got this little toolkit while him and his friend, Bearded Hardware, which he's another extreme overclocker, they got together. They were sitting there doing some extreme overclocking on the 5700 XT. And while they were both there, you could think of it, they were giving away autographed ones of these. So I bought one of these and they autographed it and sent it to me. Yo, it's so cool. So let's go ahead and just rip right into it. I mean, it's got some really nice tools. You can see I haven't really even used this thing, so I'm just kind of checking this out too with you guys. So first thing is first, let's drop it onto the desk and let's go from here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the cooler off from the back of this. Now, if you'll notice here, there's one of them that has a sticker on it. They say, you know, in some countries it's a void if removed or a void if damaged. In America, we have the right to repair. We have the right to maintenance. So they can't sit there and try to not warranty this because you cleaned your card or you re-thermal pasted your card. Now, if you re-thermal paste it and you use something that is conductive and it short circuits out in the inside of this, you might have an issue. But as far as just opening them up to be able to clean them and all that stuff, you don't have to worry about voiding any warranty. Do not let anybody tell you otherwise. You have the right to maintenance your stuff in America. So, with that, guys, go ahead, start taking some of these screws off. Now there's only 4 screws on the back that hold the cooler on. They are spring loaded. Now this is the first time I'm taking apart a 1660 Ti, so I don't know if there's any hidden screws or anything like that I'm unaware of. I don't think so, but we'll find out here in just a second. Oop, it already cracked loose. Ooh, that was quick. Alright, so when it comes down to unhooking these wires, be careful. If you have to, sometimes getting like a little paper clip of some sort, using a nail to lift up the locks on them. You don't want to rip these out of the headers. That is going to be a disaster if you do that. These ones are actually like little pinch clips on there, so it's got like a little locking tab on it. You'd pinch it and it opens the locking tab. Actually made that very easy to take apart. And on this, it's got like a little metal bracket for support, plus the back plate on this. We are going to I'm going to take off the little plate here, and I'm also going to take the fans off of the cooler so we can actually get a good bird's eye view of what the cooler is all about. So let's start off with the cooler side, and that one's going to be a teeny tiny screwdriver. I have it now. I had to get some tools actually to do this. I had tried taking apart a cooler before and realized that I don't have anything small enough screwdriver wise to take 3 little itty bitty screws off. And that's where okay, so if you're a little smaller yet. Alright. I wonder why it worked on the first one, but not this one. Alright, not a problem. Always be careful. Don't force stuff apart. Alright, that works better. Ugh. And I put my finger right on the frickin' thermal paste. Alright. Now all I'm doing right now is just removing the shroud, and the shroud itself has the fans on them. And these are really small screws, so be careful if you're going to try to do this. Oh wow, you got some hidden screws up on here. Okay, so there's 3 screws on the bottom here, and then there's 3 screws at the very top that's kind of hidden. And it's going to want me to almost take these fans out of the way too, almost. There we go. There we go. go. Now, the shroud should just lift right on up. So check that out. So shroud comes off. Fans are attached onto the shroud. And this is where I say, you have the right to maintenance your stuff. So I've actually blown this card out before. And as you can see, there's still dirt buildup. That the only way to get at is by taking the shroud off of this. So that's nasty. See, check that out, guys. That's really nasty. Ew. Ew, that's nasty. Alright, so then there's a few screws that are down into the fans themselves. And then all the little headers that hold it on. I'm not going to go as far as ripping the fans off of this, just because they can be kind of a pain sometimes. Get them on and off. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they're also secured in place by tape and all that stuff. I don't want to like really disturb it too much, but you guys kind of catch the gist on there. Now looking at the cold plate, I prefer seeing a copper cold plate versus a stainless steel cold plate. Copper cold plates actually cool a lot better. It'll wick the heat away from the CPU itself a lot more efficiently. But that is just me at that point, nitpicking. It's just what I prefer to see. Nothing more than that. Same thing with like the cooling heat pipes. I prefer to see copper pipes on there. I like the idea that they took the cold plate and they do have the cold plate contacting really nicely on the heat pipes. I would have liked to have seen more heat pipes in here, like 2 more heat pipes. I think would have done the trick a little bit more efficiently. This way they had heat pipes to cover the full length of the CPU die. So basically the CPU die is only being 75% covered at this point. So let me see here if I got a... Okay. So as you can see, the heat pipes, and you can see the die coverage on here from here to over here, and you'll notice that the 3 heat pipes are going right down the center on there. So the middle of the chiplet is being completely covered. It's the very outer edges that don't have a heat pipe actually running all the way to it. So with that being said, guys, I think that it would have better thermals if they did it that way. But to be all fair, this is actually running really nicely. It's not it never overheated on me at all. It has always just been a really good, reliable card. So let's go ahead and I'll put this off to the side. And let's go ahead and continue on with the GPU teardown. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tear off the little metal plate. And whenever you're doing this, don't mix up the screws if you can help it. That's just my own thing. Since I'm a mechanic and all that, I'm used to just pulling stuff out and kind of just lining it up. So as you guys can kind of see here, as I'm sitting here doing this, I'm like standing up my screws so I know where I pulled each one of them on. It looks like they're all coming out and they're the same, which is fine. Okay, so I've got the main all done up. Now there's 2 more on the very front panel here. And you can tell because it's got this little bracketed armature and it goes right to the rear I/O shield. Alright, that's one. Alright, and 2. So, now, that should be all free. Now, there will be some thermal pads on here, so sometimes they get a little stuck. Don't worry about it. Did I miss one? Or is it just really sticky? Why do you act like... Okay, so that's holding the rear I/O shield on. There we go. I'm like, why does this thing want to come off? So like I said, it's a little sticky, but it's all good. And then, like I said, they're using thermal pads on here on the memory to help bring the heat through this into the cooler area. Very, very typical. And then it looks like I have 2 more screws to release the back plate itself. Figures I got a different screwdriver now. Alright. Alright, so now everything is released off of it. So they did not put any thermal pads on the back plate. Usually what I'll end up seeing is that they'll put thermal pads. So this is the back side of the memory here. Usually what I'll end up seeing is that they'll put some thermal pads right here, and then sometimes on the back of the CPU onto this, just way that it wicks heat all the way through. I mean, considering this is aluminum, you would think that they would take advantage of what they have here. Oh, that's so nice. They even labeled it memory, GPU. This is the actual GPU chiplet. So whenever this thing is mining away or doing its thing, this should be hot as all. Oop, I should probably be in camera when I'm doing this. So they got it labeled memory here, so you can tell this is all the back side of the memory. This is the CPU for the GPU. They even labeled it. It says GPU on there. That's funny. There's not really much to say for on the back side of this. I actually am not sure what every single component is. I'm actually learning as I've been going along with what all the different components are. So I know some of these here are power for power, and there's even little resistors in between, just to kind of regulate power on there. Not sure. I'd almost have to like really start doing some research on these. I'd like to get to know how they all operate and everything, all that good stuff. But that's just me. And what I'm actually noticing right off the bat is it's hard to sit there and see it, but the memory has a little bit of oil on the bottom side here. Let me see if I can get this to show properly. So you can see that the mem down here half the chip is oily and half of it is not. Now, I actually see that a lot. It's almost typical of how that works. Oh, wow. You know what I just noticed? So, the memory on this is only being half covered. Wow. That's interesting. So on the 1660 Ti, now it seems like this might be a common occurrence, guys, and it's actually kind of alarming. Just a little. I'm just saying. So AMD with, I say not AMD, MSI with their like Evoke series, they don't have all the memory being covered, and it's causing the memory to thermal throttle. Now, I haven't noticed it on the 1660 Ti, so they actually do their memory on NVIDIA a little bit differently. But to see that even NVIDIA is only covering half of the memory on one side, this side they have it all covered completely. Beautiful, right? This, they're not. They're only covering half the memory on here. So each one of these modules are 1 gigabyte worth of GDDR6. That's why there's 6 of them on there. And you can see they have room to put more. They could have turned this one into an 8 gigabyte card, but they chose not to. The other thing that I'm actually also noticing, and I can see it on the cold plate on the cooler, is if you guys look, see if I can get it out of the shine. You can see here. Okay, there we go. You can see like a spot right in front of my finger where it's really light on thermal paste. I don't know if they just didn't get good pressure on it, and it's not, didn't spread it properly, or did they put too little on here, and that's the issue. Because like you can see that it oozed their thermal paste all around the 3 sides, but not at the bottom. So that means either they put it on with awkward pressure where they tighten down the bottom edge here and then tighten the top down, and that would have caused the thermal grease to squeeze up like a toothpaste tube, right, guys? So I'm thinking that might be what it is. Otherwise, there is inadequate pressure or the wrong height on the cooler, but there's really not much that could be really done other than changing out the standoffs on the cold plate, which I'm not about to do. I would just rather sit there and put some more of my MX4, the non-conductive on there, slather it up really nicely, and get the better coverage on there. There's not too much I'm going to be able to do for the memory, unfortunately, because of the way that they designed this little piece of metal. So this piece of metal here, this side here has the 2 little memory chiplets that are only being half covered. This part here has the rest of the memory on it. You can see that the bracket here is a lot bigger, and it gives adequate coverage to memory, where this piece is only half of the memory. It seems like all the partner programs are all doing it. Not one of them is privy to not have this issue, guys. So if you guys are wanting me to go into what all the components are, I would have to kind of learn some more about this. I know some of it, like I know this is where the power is at, is up in here. This is the regulation, does regulation of the GPU itself, memory of course, and then the CPU die. But if you're wanting a more of a broken down what every component is, drop some comments in down below, guys, of what kind of information are you looking for out of these GPUs. If you're like, I don't really care, then, and you're just like, I just want to know how to crack them apart, clean them, put them back together, whatnot, or you're just like, hey, I think it's cool, you do it, it's beyond me. And if it's beyond you and you don't feel comfortable with cracking GPUs apart, certainly hit me up. You can ship me your GPUs. I will do your maintenance on there and ship them back for a small fee. I accept PayPal and that Bizity Bit, guys. So even if you're just a gamer stumbling upon this, and you're like, I hate all of you miners, well, I maintenance these things. I treat these things with the utmost respect, because I want them to run forever. I've burnt out cards gaming, not mining, and it's because of the fact that I'm willing to do all this maintenance on there. So if there's anything on these cards that you would like to know about, certainly drop a comment in down below. Yo, and while you're down there, guys, smash that Lizzy like button, subscribe, share these videos with other people. It helps me get the knowledge out to all of you great people out there. And like always, I will definitely see your smiling faces on the next one. Peace.